I'm just laughing. Oh, this is a good start. Right. Hello, my name is Elle, and welcome to the Humans of Horses podcast. With me today, I have the wonderful, amazing Cat Roy-Stanley. Um, introduce yourself. Welcome.
I'm so excited to be here. We finally made it. It's been a ride.
It's fine.
Oh man. Well, yeah, thank you for having me. And I'm glad we made this happen. Much to your patience and my technically challenged self. But yeah, my name's Kat and I call myself an equestrian relationships coach, but the truth is I don't really know. It's more like I just support people and their horses to have a better relationship with themselves and each other. However, that kind of looks or feels for them. Every single person's different. So I work with the human. So I'm a human coach. Um, I'm a personal coach. And then I also work with the horse to help them with what, they're moving through and to really give them the space to like let go of anything that they're ready to and just to kind of say like how are you, because I don't think our horses get that space enough. And then working with the human and the horse together in a relationship, because you can't just look at a relationship with one, you have to look and appreciate all of them, I believe. So yeah, I love supporting people to hear their horses more, to understand their horses more, and to just kind of turn a new chapter in their relationship where it's not about what you get done together so much, it's about how you feel in each other's presence and kind of moving beyond what we're taught about horse and human relationships to be very one dimensional and very much about just getting on and going and actually really stripping it back and looking at, right, well, what is actually here and how can we grow that and nurture that? So yeah, that's kind of in a nutshell what I support people with. And I'm always growing and learning all the time. So I'm sure if you ask me this in a few months' time, I'll have a slightly different answer, but that is underneath it all what I do. So
I would love to have you back on in a few months' time because I always think like when you record a podcast, and then so I had one recorded in January, and I'm like, but I've moved on so much since then, and it only just got
yeah,
published. So yeah, I'd love to have you on in a few months' time.
let's
But
do it.
what I wanted to ask, because this came up for me today actually at work, is I said to my colleague, I was like, I have learnt more about horses from reading books about humans and human relationship, human communication, than I have reading horse training books.
Yeah. Yeah. I completely I think it's fascinating because I'm really in a period of learning about humans. I've always been fascinated about humans. Obviously, I took psychology at school. That was like where everything started to change because I was like, wait, what? Wait, this is not the world is not actually for humans. Like it's not actually our world. We're just kind of here and there's more to us than meets the eye. And I started learning more about humans and just how shocking we all are, to be honest. And then in college, university, I was fascinated by humans. And then when I started in the horse world, it was like, I don't know if you agree, it's like something completely different. It's like a branch of humanness that it doesn't often quite align with, I don't know, with other things. It's very in its own world, but it's not because it's like a microcosm of everything else. But I think horse books and horse literature is kind of a lot of it is kind of speaking like we're the expert as the human, and it's like we're trying to be experts on something that we have no business to be experts in almost. Whereas I think what you were saying about the human stuff, we're just trying to explore our own experience, um, and that was almost more honest in a way rather than trying to put I don't know how you feel about it, but I definitely think there's something in that.
For me, it's like I want to be very careful to not anthropomorphize the horse when I bring things I've read
Yeah.
under the branch of human psychology, if you can call it that, um, into the horses. But it's like, for me, it's like a relationship shuttle. It's like I learn stuff from them, that comes into my human life, and I learn stuff in my human life that goes over to them. So it's like this, I don't even know the word for it. It's like some sort of exchange dynamic
Yeah.
and some enrichment dynamic, maybe, for
Yeah.
both of us, the horse and the human.
Yeah, I think I absolutely agree with you. And I think that's where I was drawn to do what I do, because and I kind of started it because I just didn't know anyone else that kind of did that. Like I had an incredible mentor, my best friend still, who pretty much does that. But I was kind of looking at the horse world and going, it's an exchange. Like there's not, you can't separate. Obviously, you can work on you and you can support the horse, but you kind of can't separate it so much. It's like a constant dance between you. So if you're not kind of curious about your own experience and how you see the world, then you can't be curious about your horse's world and how they see the world, because they're so connected. So yeah, I love the like relationship shuttle. I think
Mm,
that's like a really cool metaphor to
word.
use.
Yeah. Because it's
Yeah.
like we talk about, this is something that's come up for me, and I think I saw you post about it like a week before it hit me.
Yeah.
And it's about like how the horses mirror us. But when I was last with my horses, I was like, is it a shuttle, a shuttle of mirroring? Because I was like, I have emotions about this encounter because I miss my horses, and I know I won't see them for 2 months. And they have emotions too about this encounter. And I really felt like we were both mirroring each other. And I had this picture of Morgan where it's like her expression is my expression and my expression is her expression. And I
Mm.
was just like, that's deeper than what I thought it was all about. Because I was kind of like, is mirroring anthropomorphizing? And now my answer is no, it's just a shared experience.
Yeah. And I think, yeah, I love that. Yeah, there's so much there, because it's like the observer effect, isn't it? It's like the as soon as you see something, the thing that you're as soon as you observe something, the thing you're looking at changes. And it's like we can't be we can try and be impartial, but we're not, because our horse is responding to us and our experience through their experience. So we're almost taking away their experience. Um, and we can put our own lenses and perspective and judgment on their experience, I think, which then that's when we need to stop and get curious and go, aha, okay, what more is here? But yeah, like they are responding to us all the time. And it's not just us responding to them. They're also responding to their shared experience. It's like a constant like infinity symbol,
Mm.
like responses to each other. And I think that's where a relationship can feel quite confusing and quite overwhelming when you can start exploring it a bit more. I don't know if you agree, but it could just feel like, oh my God, this is way deeper than I thought it was when I really start sitting down and thinking about it.
Mm. It's like the thing that's come up for me right now, as you said, that was when I was last there, I had a lesson from Rachel from Core
Mm.
Horsemanship, and she,
Love Rachel.
yeah, she's amazing. Hi, if you're listening.
Hi, Clara.
But she couldn't find the like turn onto the fields, so I like ended up in the lane, like running up and down the lane trying to find her. And the lesson was for Fion, right? And anyway, found each other in the end because I have like no phone signal when I'm there, so that's extra helpful.
Yeah.
I then rock up and like I walk back to Fion and like sort of say hi, it's Rachel, blah blah blah. I suddenly noticed he was like, oh, like this. And then I looked at my watch and I was like, my heart rate is 130 because I've been running up and down the lane. So what I said is I had my helper with me. I said, you take him, you walk him around, and Rachel's going to watch. I said, I just need my heart rate to come back down before I interact with this horse again. Because I was like, I'm not setting us up for success right now because he can hear my heart rate. So, yeah.
Mm. And what, when you that started to come down, what happened?
Then I could come into space and he was grounded and relaxed. And I was where he needed me to be. Like, I was where he needed me to meet him.
Yeah. I think there's something quite profound in that though, because I think it takes a lot for us to take responsibility of our own responses and not to make us feel like we can't have them. Because yeah, I think there's this myth of like calmness all the time, and actually sometimes we try and hide it to ourselves so much that we think we're calm, but actually we're not even aware that we're not calm.
Mm.
Um,
It's like masking or something.
yeah, we're so
Yeah.
used to being like out of our body, or like, or having to look calm. So there's an incongruence there between like what we're actually saying through our face is like, yeah, no, we're fine, we're fine. And then like our heart rate going through the roof. Mine is like, I'm always late. So I'm like, even though I'm not stressed about the horses, I'm always like on to the next thing. And I really noticed that I might miss little moments where, because my body's gone, oh, I'm in the next moment. I might just forget to say hello to them before I put the head collars on.
Mm.
And that might not make a difference in isolation, but if we forget to kind of check in with all of them, and we do that 10 times, but we're not even aware. So it's actually that moment of going, ah, hang on, the way my horse is responding, how can I just, how can I look at what I'm bringing to the table here and take responsibility of it? And the fact that like you handed your horse to someone else and go, okay, I just need to calm down a second. I think obviously we've got to take every situation and read it and know the people around, but actually that's a real moment of like non-ego, I guess, because you're not thinking like, no, I need to do this, I need to fix this in this moment. I actually know that I need to take myself away, and it's not that I'm not this horse's favorite person. I just know that if I just take 5 minutes and come back, that shows me that that shows him that I'm being responsible,
Mm.
rather than us just cracking on anyway. And then they go, oh, that's what we're meant to do as well. So we just, I don't know.
I don't like. I'm trying really not to like make this about my job, but it's just
No,
come
do
up,
it.
and it's like, um, so in my job we talk about, and it's so interesting because I've come across it in horses as well. We talk about green, red, amber,
Yeah.
like, so we talk about being in the green in my work, being in the amber, being in the red, and sometimes, even if you're the captain, you might be in the amber or the red, and you might actually and it's like taking the responsibility as a leader and as the person ultimately responsible for what's going on in that situation. Sometimes you've got to take a step back and say, okay, I'm going to take a step back out of this situation, you're going to take over whilst I then assess what's going on, and then I can come back and make the decision that's the safest, for example. And I find that is a really beautiful way of where my job crosses over into my horses, but then there's stuff from the horses that cross back into the job. So yeah, that just came to mind just then. I was like, oh yeah, that's like this.
Yeah, totally. And I think, I think that's the real practice though as well, is like in relationships. Sometimes you don't have that option of, if you're in a situation where your horse needs you to be safe, for example, if you're out and about and whatever. But that's why like practicing it in small ways is often really helpful, because you're building up your capacities, like you were saying, and also your ability to tolerate the different colours in your traffic light, and
Mm.
not try and just take it all on board yourself. But when you can take that time to, when I was listening, I was like, it's like reassessing your environment, isn't it? You're taking a
Yeah.
step back. You're not just going into like reaction mode. You're like taking a step back, retaking in the environment, checking in where you're at, reminding your nervous system, like, okay, no, we are here, we are not anywhere else, we're in this moment, this is what's expected of us, and then coming back in. I think we all need to practice that a little bit in like
Yeah.
life. Yeah, I think that's a
Yeah.
really nice learning
Learning
for,
points.
yeah, definitely.
So I want to circle not back but bring her into this conversation, because ultimately this is called Humans and Horses podcast. I think everyone who ends up like you and me or in the ethical horse world, we all have a horse or an encounter that changes us and changes us on that path. So I'm guessing for you that is Indy.
Yeah, she's definitely one of them. There's been a few, but she was my most unexpected, I'd say. And I was really excited to talk about Indy because, yeah, I just love her so much. And I think the first horse that really changed things for me, I've talked about him before on a few podcasts, so I won't go into too much detail, but I got him, his name was Reggie, and he was a little chestnut Welsh D, and he was 3 when I got him. I was in year 10, I think, and I thought I knew everything about horses. I did psychology, didn't you know, and like I watched Monty Roberts, so like I literally knew everything, obviously. And this little pony just blew my world open, and that he basically was like, just because you think that you want to do this kindly doesn't mean you actually do. Doesn't mean you
Mm.
actually act this way. And you're kind when everything's going in your favor, but as soon as things don't go in your favor, look what you do. And he really highlighted to me like that reflective way of like all the things you don't want to see about yourself. And as a teenager at the time, it was such a profound experience because no one, when you're in that environment, you know, in schools and stuff, like it's just, you're not necessarily, even if your teachers reflect back or other people reflect back, you can't take it from people because you just want to fit in. You just want to, you know, you just do stupid stuff. And you're finding your identity, aren't you? Like, you know, those teenage years where you look back and go, okay. And then I got this pony and I just knew nothing. And but I wanted to do it really kindly, and I wanted to do it I wanted to build a relationship with him, but the way I was acting did not reflect that at all. And anyway, to cut a long story short, he blew my world open, and he introduced me to natural horsemanship because that was the only like event, like path that we could walk together.
Yeah.
He also introduced me to my mentor and one of my best friends and biggest support people, Tracy, who I now run a retreat with, who we were literally stables next to each other. So anyway, so I feel like Indy almost, I don't know why, I feel like they are both comrades in this. They really remind me of each other in the most opposite ways. Like I can imagine her and him like just being in cahoots almost. So he was my first real kind of awakening of like what it means to let go of what anyone else thinks of you. Because he would he was wild, and he would jump out of his stable in the night and eat everyone's food in the night, and I would wake up and have like a wrath from everyone. He would bite me when I wasn't looking, or he didn't try and fit in. He was just himself.
Mm.
Whereas, and that taught me a lot of lessons. And then after him, I didn't have a horse for a long, long, long time, but I worked with other people's horses. And then I kind of forgot what it was like to have a horse. And yeah, and then Indy was totally unexpected because I wasn't looking for a horse. I didn't think I could I just didn't know that was going to be a part of my journey, if that makes sense. Whereas Reggie, I desperately wanted a horse.
Mm.
And I'm kind of going on a bit now, but I think when I met Indy, when I was with Reggie, I was just like a teenager who was finding their way, and there was no stakes, there was nothing at stake. I was just weird 16-year-old kid who didn't go to parties but mucked out in the morning. Everyone knew was really wacky, so could kind of just get on with what she was doing, and people would tell me what to do, and I go, oh, no, okay, I'll thank you, and then I just do it anyway. But Indy, I was a professional. I'd already decided that I wanted to be a Equestrian Relationships Coach, and that hits different when you know you've got eyes on you, and even if it's loving eyes and eyes who want you to do well, all of a sudden what you're teaching people and like what you're preaching, you have to then embody. And Indy has just been the most unbelievable gift when it comes to trusting that process and doing it slowly. So yeah, I got her in over 2 years ago now. And Tracy, again, she's responsible for so much of my life. She had her in for training, and she was a rescue in inverted commas. She'd had a bit of a rough kind of upbringing, and then she was staying with a friend's on a friend's therapy center. And she's tiny, but she's big in like spirit. But she was so shut down, she felt tiny to me. And I was like, nope, I need a big horse. I need a really big horse because I'm a big person. And this little indie, my friend was like, well, if you ever feel like, you could be a fit, I'd be open to, that partnership happening. I was like, no, no, no. It's ridiculous. Like, we're not a match. But yeah, I don't know. Have you ever had any horses in your life where you're like,
Morgan,
something unexpected? Yeah?
yeah, I was not looking for a horse, but my hamster died and I was feeling sad and I was on my own. And
Upgrade.
I
Sorry, hamster.
I opened up like the equivalent of eBay and
Love.
scrolled a bit, saw this little cobby thing, and was like, nah, she's too small, but she looks cute, so I'll just go see her just because I'm sad.
Oh.
And I met her, and we did. Her breeder's a fantastic human being, but um, we were just in this arena, and she's never been trained or anything. She got trained in a couple of basics of like back and stuff like that. We just went around poles, walked over poles, stood on pedestals, went around cones, chased a ball,
Yeah.
all at liberty, no equipment, no prior nothing with each other, and she just did it all. And like she's not even done any of that stuff before necessarily, but
No.
she'd watched her mum do it. She'd watched other horses do it because she's a big watcher. She will always like if
Observational
I'm.
learning.
She is transcending operant conditioning, Morgan.
Hells yeah.
um, but she just was. She's always watching. Like when I'm with the other two or doing something with the other two, she's always standing there watching us.
Yeah.
But yeah, I kind of drove away from her and was like, I'm absolutely mental. I can't have three horses. Don't be insane. Um,
We all know
and
how
then
that turned out.
yeah. Then I ended up
I
getting her
know.
about 6 weeks later.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I always call
oops.
Morgan a boy. It's really funny. I always say he, and I'm like, no, Morgan's a
Morgan is a
girl.
she. But for me, Indy is a he because my friend's
Yeah.
horse is called Indy. So
Yeah.
I was like, when I see pictures of Indy, I'm like, Indy is a girl.
Indy's a
Indy is a
girl.
girl.
Indy's a girl. She's got very masculine energy. Everyone calls her a he. Um, but yeah, and it's so amazing how they just they're not expected, and I think then all the lessons kind of land differently because you're not looking for them in the same way. You're kind of just they're just there, and I think they definitely, I don't know, do you feel like they land differently with Morgan?
Yeah, because fiancé, they have their baggage, they have their traumas, they have a lot of issues
Mm.
for one reason or another. But Morgan is just this like pureness of horse and this connection to that ancestral archetype of horse. And it's like, I've shown videos of people of her first ride. And like I'd maybe put the saddle on once or twice before just as a joke, and she was like, "Oh, haha," and and I've done things like when she's been standing in the way, I've just put a hay net on her back because I'm like, well, you be weird, like you're standing in the way, whatever, you're not going
You're
to
a
move,
snail.
so I'll just put a hay nail on your back. She just doesn't care, and I said to my helper here in the Netherlands, I said, I really hope before I move that you can sit on her and be the first person to sit on her. And it was like 3 days before the move or something like that. I just had this
Mm.
feeling, let's do it today. And
You
it
get
just went,
those weird like today's today.
today's the day. And today, that day was the day. And she did it. And she just walked up and down the track with me and my helper on her back like she'd been riding 1,000 times before. It was
Wow.
insane. Yeah.
It is kind of similar. She's a funny one because I think the biggest lesson that she's teaching me is like it's not about the thing. She When I got her, she was My friend put it really nicely in that she said like connection for Indy was a chore. So because humans had never really, obviously she was in some nice homes, but um she never really because she had such a difficult upbringing, I think.
Hmm.
And I know that she doesn't want me to focus on that, but it's like it's important to share because humans only ever took from her when she was little, I believe. Like I think she had a foal and they took that from her, and she was driven very young, like all of these things. And she basically just her early experience of humans. I think there was someone who loved her because she loves being in a stable and she has like a real little girl. I think a little girl loved her once because her name is Rapunzel. And she's a traveler pony, so I kind of like that. Rapunzel's such a mouthful. There must have been someone somewhere who like insisted on that name. I don't know, but when she came to me, the light in her eyes was like so dim, and like whatever I asked, even if it was something nice or I viewed as nice, she was like, even just you just being here like takes away from me, and it's just I
Mm.
don't. It's a drain. Like you asking me to connect with you is a drain. I don't seek it out. I
So
don't
it's
want it.
transactional.
Yeah. And I remember being like so triggered because I love people liking me and I am a big people pleaser. And the fact that I had just said yes to a horse that literally couldn't care less if I was there or not. If anything, if I wasn't there was better. I was like, oh my God, this is so triggering. Yeah, and I was there like, yeah, this is how you can have a good relationship with your horse. And my horse was like, don't even come near me, man. So yeah, I don't know if ever were your boys like that.
Zere's like that. Was sometimes.
Yeah.
She she's very sweet, and sometimes at the beginning it did feel transactional. Um, because I was the woman with the food bucket. It's always bonus.
Hmm.
But in time, it's like how to find the words for it. It took her a long time to accept me just stroking her with no intention other
But like, what do
than
you want?
just to help her feel good. Because with Fiona and Morgan, it's very like clear, like, oh yeah, scratch this part for me. Whereas with her, she just would walk away and go,
Hmm.
and she'd walk
Indy was
off.
exactly the
And I'm like,
same.
okay, bye then.
And you always would be like, no, 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 wait, wait, I'm really
Yeah.
nice.
Whereas Morgan's like, hello, cuddles. so
100%.
so she's very different. But in when we were in the arena, it was almost like earlier on she had this is work, this is home. In home you do not touch me. In work you can touch me and cuddle me, and that's fine. So it really felt like a divide between work and home, and I was like, well, this we're not working anymore. There's no expectations here, and I think I went through a period where I was just like, right, we're just gonna sit in the sandbox and you're going to be on the end of a rope. So you can go as far away on the rope as you want, but the rope is the limit. You can't go beyond that. So I'd just sit there on the ground and wait. I was like, no, you can't go to your friends, because she'd always just hang out. She'd get stuck in a corner and
Yeah.
not engage at all. So I was like, right, we're going to go to the other end of the sandbox, away from your friends, and you're going to have to spend time with me. But you can be away from me, you can be with me, but you're not allowed over there. And that's when things started to change. So it's really interesting.
Stretching the threshold.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's talk about that, because I've always been like, um, I struggled setting boundaries because I wanted to be the most ethical, kind horse person I could possibly be. But so I struggled to set boundaries. And sometimes I've now learned you have to, it's like training a muscle, isn't it? To grow and develop, sometimes you have to just push into that threshold just a little bit to then grow that comfort zone.
Hmm. Yeah. And a lot of what I kind of am a massive nervous system nerd, and a lot of that really helped validate me actually because I think yeah, you are so pushed to progress in a linear fashion in the horse world, and more is always better, harder is always better, lighter is always better, looking neater is always better. And I think when it comes to the nervous system, and I started discovering more about it, and it's still it's a massive part of what I do, and I'm kind of trying to integrate it in everything else now, so it's not just like the be all end all, it's like an element to everything. But I think learning about the nervous system was such a huge turning point, because it was like slow is fast. And if we want to gently and sustainably and like ethically, whatever that means to each person, because it changes, stretch and yourself and your horse, you must do it slowly, and you must do it in a way that supports you to process, supports you to integrate, and a little bit at a time. And then that's actually going to last. Whereas we push so hard so fast, we snap those thresholds, we snap the trust with ourselves and our horses. And actually, we end up spending 10 years on things that never quite feel like, it's not about looking a certain way, it's about how it feels. You can spend 10 years getting a bridleless ride. Like I've had clients who've had the dream. They've literally ridden their dream, and they come back and they go, I didn't like how that feels. And actually, when you respect your thresholds, because that'll be different for everyone else's, and you start to get to know your horses. And I guess that's the dance and relationship, is like you and your horse's thresholds might be different. So trying to navigate that, and I think a lot of that's like what I support my clients with, and it's really interesting. But it really reassures you that you don't have to snap things to grow them. You actually have to just really slowly build it up and not avoid it though. It's like a
No,
balance between not avoidant, like facing it, but not facing it so much that you go into a state of panic or shutdown and then can't get out.
it's like trauma. Like when you notice for yourself trauma surfacing, you don't want to just dive in and
You
rip
can't.
to the bottom of it. You can't do that. You have to
No.
start really small and then start to gradually, I think, at least in my experience of it, it's like start to have an awareness of when the trauma is showing up as a behavior pattern.
Yeah.
And that's your first step. It's like, this is what this is, and I'm going to label it.
Yeah.
And that's enough for now. And then we can go deep later on.
Totally. And I do think the human and horse world, we've become so, and I think that a lot of self-development has a lot to answer for this, because and I think self-development paired with consumerism has a lot to answer for this, because I think even in myself, I notice it in myself, where you're like, oh, there is a thing that will change it all for me, or an experience, or this that I will have, and then my life will be changed forever. Or my whole, like, there will be a problem that we need to unravel. Once we unravel that, we're transformed. And actually, I think we want to get the biggest results the quickest. And so that means that, like, that it's just, I mean, you go on social media and it's this person with this cure and this person with this cure and this person, like, yes, you re-experience this, you go on this retreat, or you have like this, I don't know, you push yourself to embody it and all this kind of stuff. And actually, I think that's also one of Indy's lessons, because the more I tried to rush her with the healing, but even when I used to offer it, and I used to offer it from a place of like, I'm here for you, I and it was very much actually about me, not about her. So I was like, I'm here, like I can hold this for you. And she would be like, like, why are you giving me this? It's not actually for me, is it? It's for you to make yourself feel better about yourself, that you're trying to offer something to me, rather than actually going, right, what do you need? So I think it took her, no, it took her, that's the wrong way of saying it. She 6 months was like her timeline for naturally coming up to me in the field and saying hello, that hey. And I think probably it's in the last few months that she's actually welcomed touch. And yeah, like if I was to rush her through that, if I was to try and like heal her or like try and go too deep into that, she'd just walk away. She'd be like, no, I can't. So yeah, I think that's a really beautiful lesson.
I think I recognise that a bit in Fionn, because he struggles to be in his body and present, like he really does, and it's what Rachel's working on with him a bit as well, and my mum now. I think here he was always so overstimulated in the Netherlands because there was always so much noise going on around, and he was always like, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, all the time. And imagine that, there's never like that bringing back down to zero. It's just like, like that all the time. And in the UK, it finally felt like he could just start to work on being present. And it will take a long time, but I think he has the capacity to do it. And it's just, yeah, it's really interesting because it just, like with Rachel, it's just like, oh, I need to slow down even more.
Yeah.
I thought I was going slow. No.
No. And no, I completely agree. And I also think like our own capacity to be present is so, and I'm holding my hands up here and being like, it's so hard. It's almost impossible to be present in the human world if you're not actively trying to create it. Because any gap we have, even if it's eating a meal, if it's like between clients or in the supermarket, we are just on our phones, or we're so stressed and in such a high paced environment that we are never truly present, really, unless we actively go, okay, I'm going to make an effort to catch this thought or notice this sound. At least for me anyway. And I think we're massive hypocrites when it comes to our horses. Because we're like, yeah, I just would love them to be more present. I'd love them to, appreciate what's going on and like process this and process that. And we're like, right, well, what are we doing? When we get home and we start feeling a bit uncomfortable, what do? We get on our
TV, go on our phone. Yeah.
And then they must look at us. It's like trying to go to the gym and like this is an athlete. Like, would you ever have a coach that was not at your level, or at least experience some kind of similarity and level of competition or athleticism to train you?
I mean, yeah, they would have like a level of it, but yeah, whether it's the same level or not is, yeah, not necessarily. It doesn't make a good coach necessarily. If you had the best ski racer in the world and they were coaching you, it wouldn't necessarily mean that they make a good coach, because being a good coach is far more than just having mastery. It's far more than mastery. So yeah, I think, because I think for me what's coming out now is like, it's the whole self-worth thing. It's like, I've thought about teaching people horsey stuff. I'd love to do that. But right now I'm like, oh, but I don't know enough. But what do I do with my helpers? I teach them. So I do know enough. But it's also like, we make mistakes. We will make mistakes. I make mistakes all the time with them. And that's okay. And I know some people worry with young horses as well. Like, and I had this. It's like, oh, I'm going to mess up my young horse. I'm so scared of messing up. Oh, I don't want to make a mistake. It's like, well, then you're then projecting that anxiety and that expectation and pressure onto the young horse. So you're already not setting yourselves up for success.
Yeah, and I think it's experience as well. I think like we can know so much cognitively. That doesn't go through your hands.
No.
Like you might know, oh yeah, I don't grab the rope. Even the other day I was late for work. What did I do? Grab the rope. I know that. And it's like, it's actually going, hang on, I might know enough, but I haven't made enough. In order for me to, I think that's what Indy really showed me. She was like, you know a lot, but actually it is the mistakes, or it is the kind of learning what's too fast, what fits me, what fits you, what doesn't, what you're capable of, what you're made of, what I'm capable of, what I'm made of. not in like a pushy way, but in like a I can be patient, or I can trust her, or I can not let the voices of others decide the timeline. Um, and I remember first doing mother foal bonding, the Lockie
Hmm.
Phillips stuff, and I was actually shocked at how much my hands wanted to pull, and I still have it every time I do it. Like there's an urge in me to pull, and I catch it, and I'm able to kind of breathe through it. And it's not about not having the urge. It's about like you've experienced feeling the urge so much that you can then catch it in yourself. And I think that's what people, when you're supporting people, and I think there's so much I need to get more experience on, for sure. For sure. But I think when you're coaching people, and like you were saying, like a good coach isn't necessarily someone who's the highest level or has been an incredible athlete or performer. And I guess that's how we are with our horses. It's like the attitude, and it's the way that you go into it and how you explain it and how you feel it, and your ability to almost remember how it felt to learn it,
Hmm.
and remember, oh yeah, my body felt like that when I did this, and I can connect with you here. And I think, yeah, being our horses friends and coaches, and then being ours as well, not for like because they need to, but yeah, I don't know if that makes sense, but yeah.
Just like processing. Is there anything coming up for me right now? I think one thing that I've observed and I try and implement, because I think for me the last year or so has really been about learning how to show up as the leader that I want to be in my herds. Because Poppy actually talks about like when she connected with them, she says that they see me, because often it's like the horses will say, well, these are my human friends and these are my horse friends. And with me, she said they presented me as a herd member, but the person who's responsible, or the herd member who carries the responsibility of their welfare and stuff like that. Um, so the last year has really been about discovering who I want to be as a leader, both with my horses and personally and professionally, and navigating that, but knowing how to show up in certain ways. So I've been watching Zir, because she is a fantastic mother. Like she had her own foal, and she did do endurance, but when I look back at her past pictures, I could see she was who she was meant to be when she was a mother.
Mm.
And she showed up as a mother to the foal of my friends, who came to us when she was about 8 months. And she just fostered her like immediately as a foal. Um, and there's a really cute, there's a bit of a side thought, but there's a really cute moment when Zia was snoozing, standing up, and the foal was just flat underneath her, like underneath her legs, underneath her belly, because she just trusted to be there and be safe under Zia. So it was very cute.
That is so lovely.
But she shows up as well, I think, in the role of a mother to Fionn and Morgan to an extent. Not in a dominant mare way. I don't use that language to describe her, but it's like I watch her because I'm like, how does she get them to go where she wants them to go? How does she communicate that? So I try and, when I'm trying to set a boundary of space or position in space, I'm like, I try and take that energy of like that clear but not abrasive action. It's just like, move. And it's like a short snap of like, move, like that. And I try and translate that into my own body language with like Morgan and Fionn.
I think, yeah, in these, because I'd never had a mare before either, and I was like, I'm so used to geldings. And it was really interesting what you were saying about that, like trying not to just move them from like a human way, because I think even as humans, we move each other in like horrendous ways. We don't have any respect when we move each other because we're all scared of boundaries, and we're not like, not all of us, but most of us are, and we don't have experience in setting them with integrity and with calmness and firmness and friendliness sometimes. And I think, of course, then when we start having conversations with our horses, we're like, so, I couldn't do this in the human world, and I found this really difficult in the human world. So now I'm expected to be fluent at it with like a different species. And obviously, when it comes down to it, boundaries are like very similar between us, but actually that's where our horses can really teach us so much, is like, where have we got really confused about boundaries? Because I found boundaries incredibly hard. And I want to talk about Indian boundaries. I'm not an expert on boundaries, I have to say, but when I started secondary school teaching last year, to a bit of everything really. Like always used to want to be a teacher, and I loved the routine of it because we're self-employed and I'm ADHD as well. So I literally drift like a river, and I end up just having no structure in my day. So I almost need something with a structure that I don't create to like support me. But I also just really then found learning in the classes, because they really highlight your inconsistency within yourself of what boundaries are. And I would find myself even today, like, the kids know me as someone who, like, I don't even know when to give what. They're like, you're not going to give a warning for that, and I'm like, I don't know. Or I'd be like, okay, like, send someone out, and they're like, wait, but you've not given me a warning. So even my own appreciation of the boundaries is complete squiff. and and that's something that you almost have to see in order to forgive yourself for, and then to appreciate that that comes into play. And I wonder, with our horses, they look at us and go, what on earth are you talking about? Like, of course you pull me because you don't trust your own, like, feet, you don't trust your own heart, you don't trust your own thoughts, you don't trust your own internal like knowledge of what you are actually even saying or asking. And with Indy, I would play a game. It's Lockie Phillips' game called Tetris. You know
Mm,
that game where you just,
no.
you have to
I know it on
explore
the
it.
computer when it's like tick, 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 tick.
Yes, exactly. So it's basically like, you're not moving each body part. It's got nothing to do with the body part. That's essentially what it's about, the space underneath the body part. And you're not getting irate about it. You're literally just like, oh, I just want that space underneath that foot. And for the first time, Indy went, oh yeah, sure, that's fine. All you needed to do was ask. And the first time we played it, she was like, no, no, what do you want? What do you want? What do you want? And I was like, I just want that space. And I was so emotional about it. I filmed it and I've still never shared it because I think it's hilarious, because I have a breakdown halfway through. Because I was like, my boundaries aren't being listened to. I don't know how to set boundaries. I don't know who I am anymore. And I was asking for one space under one leg, and she moved every single leg around, but not the one that I was like, I'd love that space, please. And I got so triggered. And now we've worked through it, I'm just like, cool, can I have that little space under your foot? And I literally just look at it and she's like, no worries, babes. And I'm like, thanks, babes. And it's so wholesome. Whereas before I was thought that you had to, like, you look and then you escalate and then you escalate. And it's like, that's so not a
Mm,
mutual conversation of like just respect for each other, not in a sense of like respect, but just like, of course you can have this space. That's fine. No worries. So yeah, that was a real like lesson in that, because yeah, we all have a real messy, I think, relationship with boundaries. So it'd be really
yeah.
interesting. You've got to play that. You've got to play that
So
game.
I love the one that changed my life in that regard, book wise, was Nonviolent Communication by Marshall Rosenberg. Don't know if you've read it. Can
No.
highly recommend. Heard about it first from Mosey Truitt on In the Spirit of Horse podcast. And it's about, I'm just reading my notes. That's why I'm staring down at my phone. This is about like communicating needs with boundaries whilst showing empathy. Um, and then building human-to-human connection through compassion and connection. So it's like a little bit overlap with Brene Brown and her ideas there. But ultimately, again, it gets you to slow down rather than react from an emotionally aroused state. It gets you to just be, okay, well, what am I seeing here from both myself and the other person? What can I feel in myself and the other person? And then what do we need? And can I then ask that need to be met? And I think we can have that same conversation with the horses.
Yeah.
So that's, again, when a human thing can help with the horse thing.
100%.
Because it's like when we moved the horses, still amazed that happens.
I
But
know.
I can't believe it sometimes. Fionn was just blew me away. He just went straight into the trailer. I was like, who is this horse? But then we don't want him to be overwhelmed, because I had it in the past where he just was like, yeah, let's go. He went
Yeah.
straight in, and then
And
all
then they're
hell
like,
broke
I
loose.
crossed my own boundary.
Yeah, so we did take it slow. We gave him time, we gave him space, and I have an amazing helper called Lisa, who I was just like, right, you are going to be responsible for Fionn's emotions whilst we load everybody else in the trailers. So next up was Morgan, and Morgan was just like, I am not going in the trailer with that buffoon. Like, that's what it felt like. I am not spending 12 hours with him. Like, but I don't know if she's kind of saying he needs Zir, he doesn't need me. But anyway, whatever we tried, like with Caroline, we were just like trying to get her to go in. I was there with the pool noodle, like, come on. I was there with food. We were using ropes, like whatever it was, like any way of asking, she was just like, nope. And I was like, you are not the one I thought would be difficult. So then we thought, okay, scratch that, get rid of her. We tried putting her in the other trailer. Meanwhile, I went to go get Zir, loaded her in. She was pretty straightforward because she's like, I've done this a million times. I know exactly what I'm doing. So we're like, awesome, you go in. And then Morgan, I circled back to, and Caroline and Justin were with her. And she was like, almost in the trailer, but not quite. And Caroline said to me something like, and this links back to the Tetris, she said something like, if only she'd move her left back leg. And I haven't written about this in any post yet, but I talk about, like, it came up to me a few weeks ago where I was like, what is the language of my horse? You know, Poppy talks about how to speak horse. I was like, well, what is the language of my horses? And the words that came to me for Morgan was, what was it? Intention based. So if I hold the intention in my mind of what it is I want her to do, she'll just generally do it.
She's like, cool.
She's like, yeah, sure, I'll move. So I just stared at that leg and I just thought, move it like that. And it wasn't that leg she moved, but she moved the other one. And then Caroline said, oh, if only she'd move her front legs. So I stared at her front leg. I thought, move. And she did. And then, boom, in you go. Done. Door closed. Off we go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we're there like, la, 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 la. Like we don't even know where our eyes are going half the time. And there's so much like noise that we don't even notice. And they're like, oh, you need to just need to be clear and ask. And
Yeah.
that's not necessarily being loud. It's just being like, oh, okay, yeah. Like, yeah, I've got a lot to, Indy's got a lot to teach me on that one, I think, because I'm a lot of fluff. I love a waffle, love a round the houses. And Indy's very much like, well, are we doing this or not? When we first got on, my friend was like, right, so I think Indy's telling you that because she hates circles. She absolutely hates them. And I was so addicted to them for so long. So I was like, no, you must do a circle before we get on. That's like the order of things. And even though I know better now, like I knew better, but when you get your horse.
Wait, what? Oh, sorry, that's just processed in my brain. What are you banging on about?
So when I first got an Indy,
Yeah.
the order that you're told to train in natural horsemanship and in most life is you do a circles to see how they're feeling first. Always. Always.
What?
So it's a religion. Yeah.
I didn't know this.
Okay,
This is new
good.
to me.
Good. Stay that way. Because it's a way of like the horsemanship world is often like, right, we basically push them on a circle until they blow out or until we've kind of seen what they can do almost it's very much like it can be more constructive than that, definitely. Like I've had some really beautiful sessions with horses that genuinely need to kind of move their feet or like explore, get used to what their body feels like with the saddle on. It doesn't have to be like a toxic thing, but it's almost become one in that it feels like a box to tick rather than actually being with your horse in that experience, if that makes sense. So
Like
it's
a
like,
what do you need right now kind of thing.
yeah, but like
Yeah.
it's in like the rawest sense of it, it's like, well, either lunging, which obviously we're taught to just chase a horse around, then you progress to like the natural horsemanship way of doing things, which is like, you go out and you stay out until I tell you to come in. And then I was trying to do it in a way that was very much like with feel and wanting it to be like a partnership kind of a thing, but it almost felt manipulative, because she was like, no, I just hate this, it's boring. She just shut down. She just shut down. And anyway, and then when I went to get on for the first time, I think it was the third time, I think, just to sit on her, my friend went, right, I think you need to let go of the circles, mate. And I was like, okay, triggered. And then she went, and Indy she just wants you to get on. Like, there's no nonsense there. There's no like, you're so fluffy and like, oh, how, la 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 la, here, there, and everywhere. She was just like, are you going to sit on me or what? Like, I don't know what you're doing. I don't know what you mean. And I sat on her and she was like, right, okay, now I know what you're talking about. We're fine. And then since that point, she's taken to it really well, because she's like, finally, you've stopped waffling and you've just actually shown me what you had in mind, and I'm a part of it now. But yeah, they have a lot to teach us about our own noise.
Yeah. I think for me, one thing as well that's never sat with me is all these methods that are out there. And I know they're a marketing tool, but it's like you're then prescribing people a step by step by step by step by step by step, rather than meeting the horse and yourself as you are today, which could be different from the previous day. So you just show up and, yeah, I just always try and show up and just ask, well, what is it you need from me today? Do you need to go and walk? Do you need to play with the mat? Do you need to walk around poles on the ground? Do you need scratches? Do you need energy work? Like, what is it that I can give you today? And then that just feels much nicer and much less pressure.
I agree. I also do think, though, there is such a value of the step by step, because we needed to learn how to, a lot of us, especially if you're unlearning a lot of stuff, there is a real kind of being led feeling about it, which then can kind of cover bases that we might miss. And then, but I agree, it's like in a perfect, you almost need to learn the steps and then, but I don't know, because there's step by step guides everywhere.
We like steps and we like
love
processes.
a step. We love a step.
But to horses?
No, I guess it's how it can be helpful when you're kind of layering in language together. But then, yeah, it's like, how can we transcend the steps? And then you almost, for some humans, we almost need to go through the steps in order to realize that you can transcend them. Yeah, I feel like the steps are a learning journey in themselves. To go, wait, why am I on this step? I don't understand. Yeah, yeah. And it's interesting, like when you were saying about, what do you need from me today? And I don't think we really know how to ask that question a lot of the time, because we often don't really ask ourselves that question, and being intuitive enough, and also in an environment that supports that as well. Because if we're like, okay, energy work, and then if someone's like, what's that? And there's so many realms of discovery within yourself where we've almost got to, yeah, explore those different parts of ourselves so that we know and are familiar with how we can perhaps open it up with our horses, rather than just knowing that this is what I've always done, or this is what I've always been shown, so that is my menu for the day of what do you want to do. And our horses might be thinking something completely different, but because we've never done it before, we don't have that like that button in us that we know what they're talking about. They might be like, oh, I want
Mm.
something that humans have never invented. And we're like, oh, but I don't know what that is. So I'm just going to go with what I have. So yeah.
One of my favourite books is Equus Lost, and it's one of the only horse books about horses that I'm really like, yes, that's so good.
What's it
Because it
called?
talks about Equus Lost.
Equus Lost.
And it talks about social learning, it talks about observation, and it essentially talks about transcending operant conditioning. And it was just like, and it's about the cognitive thing, and it's actually what inspired my name in the end. Is like, I'm like, yeah, I want to meet this at a cognitive level and at an awareness level, and not oh, I have to do this or I have to do that, or the horse has to do this or the horse has to do that. It's just like having that co-creative space with your horse. And so I used to do operant conditioning, yes, and positive reinforcement, and be like, we're going to learn to do this thing, and to do this thing we're going to do a step by step by step reward structure. And once I read Equus Lost, I was then like, well, what if I just put the ball on the floor and step back and let the horse engage with it in a way that makes sense to them or that they're feeling in that moment? So then it's like, then you start not having a structure, but like offering them the creative space and being like, what can you do with this object? How can you engage with this object with your body? And like when I started doing that, that's when Zir started to not be scared of objects anymore. Because she'd always like, if you put a new object in the sandbox, God forbid it was going to kill her, she was like,
Yeah.
what the hell is that? Like, oh, big reaction. And then when I started to be like, hey, there's this thing on the floor, look, it's cool. She was like, okay.
Okay.
Oh, can I kind of touch it with my nose? Oh yeah, I can. Oh, I get a treat for that. Oh, and then be like, okay, what else can I do? Oh, Fionn sometimes does this thing with his leg. I'm going to do this thing with my leg. And then, yeah, well done, good job, kind of thing. And then eventually she discovered how to kick it for herself, but I didn't teach her how to do that. She just did it.
Yeah, there's so much. Yeah. We don't really leave much space for creativity with ourselves anymore, though. We forget what
No.
we can create out of thin air and what answers come to us in thin air, and like, why would it be any different to our horses?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, love it.
This has been really, like, I wasn't expecting anything else besides a here, there, and everywhere conversation.
That is that is
But
that is
that's awesome.
that is my vibe. That is my
Yeah.
vibe. I love
I
it.
think that's just what we do, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's
And I
fine.
think that's like my whole conversation with my horses sometimes. I do feel for Indy's, she's very tolerant, but she's very much like, but what am I talking about this, mum? And you're like, oh yeah. I was like thought processes ago. But she's
I'm
so
gonna,
tolerant.
yeah.
Yeah, no, I was just gonna say she's so tolerant of it, which makes me laugh.
Actually, before I jump into like the 4 questions that I asked people at the end, how did you told me you found Indy through a rescue, right?
So no, not technically. She was with a friend who runs the Viewpoint Centre in Surrey. So she's a mutual friend of mine, and Tracy's, and I think she had her through another lady, and then the other lady rescued her. And so I think what happened was, Katie told me that she basically was absolutely fine on their track, but she just wanted a human. And Katie's very open to that kind of thing. And she was just mucking out one day, and it was almost like Indy just kind of nickered from the next door, and all she heard was like, I just want a human. Like, I haven't got a
Hmm.
human. I've got a great setup, but I want a human. And then my friend took her in to kind of develop her and go to sell her. And then I was going to help her with that process. Um, and then, yeah, and then, yeah, she went, actually, I think you guys would be a good fit. And that was that. So, yeah, she was rescued very little. When she was very little, she'd done so much that she's already got an early onset arthritis, and she was rescued at 4. So she'd been driven, I think, a lot, a lot, a lot. But now she's her own woman, and she loves adventures, and the warmth she has towards me. I never ever thought that'd be possible. Like this yesterday morning, we were having a play with the pad. And Jack, my new little cob, who I've known for a long time, he's not new to me, but he's new to Wales, and he's very unsure. But he's done more miles than Indy, and we've hacked Devon and Exmoor on the beach, and he's been, had horsemanship background, and she showed him the way. She's like, "Oh, don't
Yeah.
worry, I'm gonna get into this conversation, and I'll show you what to do." And like, she just looks at me with such like love, and I never thought that was. She used to look at me with just like dead eyes, and it's just so beautiful feeling that like space between us, and my heart's been like burst open as well, because I think I used to look at her with a bit of dead eyes too. So yeah, it's been a journey, but I'm loving it. So yeah.
And I think that leads, well, you've covered it a bit, but you can also bring Jacobine into this conversation. Because we've not really mentioned him too much. So,
No.
yeah, question number 1 is, what gifts have you received from your horses that keep showing up for you, or is showing up for you right now?
I love that question. I think just reassurance of like trusting your. And I always say stay you. Like at the end of every post, I'm like, stay you. And I think my horses, both of them, Jack and Indy, the more I trust them, and the more I trust us and myself, and like let go of other people's timelines. I kind of said at the beginning, but it always unfolds in a really unexpectedly beautiful way. And I thought I was someone who trusted myself. I actually didn't, as much as I thought I did, especially with the horses. So I think trust is a massive one. And Indy especially, like I ride her very little foundation, just care and relationship. And I'm not suggesting that other people do this. It's very much an individual kind of thing. But yeah, I literally have to trust her. I have to trust her so much that she's got this and we've got this, and it's just beautiful. And yeah. And I think Jack teaches me you can do a lot in this life and still be really scared. And I think that is a positive lesson, because it's like we can convince ourselves that we're okay and we can get a lot done and we can do a lot, like Jack is. When he feels okay, he's like okie dokie, but he's such a deep feeler, and everything lands with him like through his skin into his heart. He takes everything very personally. He reminds me of, they're like both sides of my personality, them two. One side that's like, yeah, I don't care, and the other one that's like, I need to, love me, I need to feel okay. And Jack is like, he reminds you to just take your set, like go slow with yourself and be gentle with yourself, and also that you can do really hard things. um they can coexist basically.
I think there's bits of us in each of our horses, and that's what calls us to them, or them to us. Yeah, and they can coexist. And whether they're a past or present version of you or element of you, they can coexist.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I love that question.
Next one's also quite nice. What message do you want to send out into the horse world?
Oh my god, how long do we have?
As long as you want. This is your space, so
We need to eat at some point.
go for it. I need to go to bed, but it's fine.
Oh yeah, you and I are ahead. I kind of think the message I'd love to send into horse world is just like one with like so much love in my heart. I think like just to stop and breathe, and almost remind yourself what is really important, and like you don't need to rush. And I don't know, I have this feeling in me of just like giving everyone the biggest hug and being like, we're all in this together, no matter what you practice, no matter what you believe, we are on some level in this together. And I think remembering that we are more together than we are separated or apart Even if you really don't agree with how someone does something, like there is a part of them that needs to be seen and loved and held. I think all of us
Mm.
do. And I I could say 1,000 things about what we should or shouldn't do. But actually, I think if we really nourished our own relationships with ourselves, and that might be through, we can't have a good relationship with ourselves without having a good relationship with the herd, with like co-regulation with others, and to just give yourself permission to like relish your relationship with your horse and not to see it as something that is like like a bank account, in that it's always about getting the most out of it, or like a stock, like stocks and shares. There's almost like there's like a adrenaline out of it, of like what we can do, and if we're not making the most of it, then we're failing. And it's like that's not the case at all. To just take that away from, and remember like what a relationship is really for, I guess, is like it was never about this transactional nature. It was never meant to be for that. It was always meant to be for feeling safe with each other. And I think we've really forgotten that.
Mm.
So I think that's the message I'd love to share with the horse world, and including myself. So yeah.
This is beautiful. Yeah. I think you'll like this next one. So, if your horse could tell us about you, what do you feel? Not think, but feel, they might say.
I feel they would say, I think, hey, you're always rushing around. And also that there's such peace in me that I almost feel like they see the like free spirit, kind of wanting to do yoga in the field and just sit there and literally eat all my meals, and I just want to be with them all the time. And also I think they see the tie with the human world and how that makes me show up. But I think, yeah, I think they definitely see that with love, I guess. I think they're very compassionate towards me that way. And I think they see my good intention and they see my heart, but they also see the hilarious humanness of me too, I think.
I
Yeah.
love that. The hilarious humanness. That's great.
Yeah.
I do think they must laugh. I'm pretty sure my cat thinks I'm the weirdest thing ever.
Yeah.
Like, but somehow she loves me in as much of a way a cat can.
Yes, I think they kind
Yeah.
of go,
And
oh,
I think it's the same with them. Yeah.
100%. Like there's the weird singy, dancey, sometimes stressy, mostly just on our own, like, yeah, on our own planet, mum.
This last question came to me when I was actually about to view my new home, when I was
Yeah.
on top of the Mendips. So
Where is the
what?
Mendips, by the way? You've
So
already
the
told
Mendips
me.
is, if you got Bristol, just south of Bristol, there's some hills, and those are the Mendips. It's North Somerset.
Because when I posted saying where's the place that you feel the most free, you said the Mendips.
Yeah,
I remember being like, where's that? I
you
did
have to
you,
come visit.
Corfu. Yeah, I will. I'd love that. I'd really love that. I don't think
Me,
you're
of
too
course.
far away.
No, no, I'll have to work it out. But yeah, you should definitely come visit and stand on top of the Mendips with me.
Yes, please. Whilst playing some Pride and Prejudice music. Oh
Or the like do 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 do
yeah,
do, that one.
that
Yeah.
one.
Anyway, or some quintessentially British thing.
Kate Nash.
Anyway, so where or what? Because it doesn't have to be a place; it can be a feeling or a thing.
Yeah.
So where or what makes you feel wild?
Oh, the water.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love swimming in the ocean, in the river, in a paddling pool. I think that makes me feel really free. Um, there's something that the water almost transports you away, and it's the place that I come home to myself a lot. So if I've ever had a period of time where I've been really busy, or you've kind of forgotten yourself a little bit, and you kind of lost your feeling of like your shape and your priorities and your commitments and like to yourself and like what brings you joy and your home. Whenever I get into water, it's like, oh, okay, we're back, it's fine. And I also feel most free when I'm with my horses, but not all the time. But I think when I'm in a place with them where we're really kind of just being, or we're on an adventure somewhere and we're just trekking along. Yeah, I think the water is definitely my happy place where like I'm not worrying about anything else. I'm just here in the moment in the water. When I'm with the horses, I'm always like kind of thinking about something or like with them or being curious about them, and I'm just almost excited. So I guess it's like a different kind of wildness, I guess. I guess there is a real wildness of them. Um, but wildness, when you said wildness, my instant mind went to like free and like free of thought, free of worries, free of like everything, and that is the water.
Lovely.
Yeah. What about you?
Mendips. But again, it's wherever awakens, should I say, and reconnects me to and grounds me to the wild woman.
Today.
From the lovely book that is very difficult to read. But Women Who Run with the Wolves.
Yeah. That's my reminder to get stuck back into that.
It's very difficult. I feel like I'm reading like Emily Bronte or something. Like it's got so many good messages, but my God, it's difficult to read.
It's almost so many good messages that you read a page and you're like, that's it for the week. That's enough of the good messages. I need to soak on that.
I've been reading that book for 3 years. But it's okay.
It's okay.
And I'm only 20% of the way through, but it's fine. It's absolutely fine.
All in the right time.
Exactly. Yeah.
At least you're trying to read it. I keep picking it up and putting it down. And like one day, and then I picked it up now, so we'll finish.
I'm terrible. I must be in the middle of about 30 books in total.
Me too.
Like I can't stick to one. It has to be. I get so excited. I'm like, I want to read that one. I want to read that one. I want to read that one. Yeah. That's fine.
Yeah. That's why I like audiobooks.
We do us.
Yeah, we do us, and that's beautiful.
Stay you.
Stay you. Stay wild. Stay you.
And on that note.
Yeah.
Should we sign off? Well, actually, I forgot to ask my previous guest because I was just like, woo!
Yay!
Where can we find you?
So you can find me on my social media, which is my Instagram is at Balance and Align Coaching. You can find me on my Facebook, which I believe is the same, Balance and Align Coaching. My website is in the process of being updated, so if you do find a weird page that doesn't quite fit, then that's fine. www.balanceandline.com, or just email me directly, which is Catherine@balanceandline.com. So that's me. And my podcast as well. I forgot about that.
Yes.
I've got 2 podcasts. One, they're both quite sporadic, but great when they come through. One with my friend and mentor who I mentioned earlier, called Tracy Duncan, and co-worker as well. We run our retreat together, and that is the Equestrian podcast. And then one of me, mostly rambling, but I'm going to bring other people onto it. And that is the Equestrian Relationship podcast. So they're both on Spotify. So yeah.
As a we. Woo.
As a we.
Not an Apple podcast person. I
don't even know how to put it on there.
I don't know, me neither.
No,
but that's fine.
Know. So we don't know how to do it, so we just stick with what we know. The theme of stretching thresholds.
Just stick to what we know.
Just stay to what we know.
On that note, I'm going to go to bed.
I've just started playing with my positive reinforcement.
Do you want me to click for that?
Target? Yes, please. Thank you. Oh, dear. For those people listening, they're like, what's going on? But no, thank you so much for having me, Elle. I'm really glad that you did
too. Yeah.
Thank you.
All right. Take care.
Bye.
Time before you walked into my life, you took the broken parts of me and made it all alright. There's an easiness to your grace that I will never know, and every day this feeling only grows, and every moment with you just bleeds into one. Your easy smile greets my eyes just like the morning sun, a reflection of my soul, one heart that beats for two. Just know, my love, that I will carry you.